Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. It is so good to see you again. We're taking it back to my Mentally Please series and talking about right and wrong reasons to want to go to law school. Now, obviously, right and wrong is incredibly subjective, but there are many people who I come across and probably many people who don't even reach out that are trying to decide if law school is for them. And it's really important to kind of know what you're getting yourself into and what are some things that will not sustain you if you go to law school for those reasons. The most important thing for the decision-making process is self-awareness, because only you can determine what's right for you and only you can determine whether law school is the setting that you want to be in. I get a lot of questions about why I went to law school, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about that in this video. But regardless of the reasons that you come across for why people went to law school, it is not going to matter. What matters most is why you are interested and why you might want to go. So let's talk about it. But of course, before we go any further, please subscribe to my channel. I've really been doing the thing. I've been consistent. I've been posting. I'm back in my YouTube era, and it's kind of very fun. Just being able to talk to you in a way I feel like I don't talk on TikTok, or a way I don't talk on Instagram, which you should follow me there as well. But I don't know, I feel like when you are starting on a new platform, even though YouTube is not new, but it's new to me, I can just have fun and say whatever, post as if no one's watching. But that doesn't mean no one's watching, because you are watching. So thank you for watching. And if you aren't already, please feel free to subscribe. So first, let's talk about some of the wrong reasons to go to law school or to want to go to law school. A big wrong reason is prestige. Obviously, being a lawyer is a profession that is viewed with high esteem, and that is respected in society. I want to say in global society. I don't actually know about lawyers in all countries, of course, but if you say you're a lawyer, pretty much in any country, I think it gets some sort of respect. But especially in an American context as well. And so I think a lot of people can be enticed by that, just being able to say well, I'm a lawyer, right? I'm a lawyer, I'm an attorney, or things just being able to say that, to walk into a space and say that might entice some people, or might, kind of be I want to be this thing, right? When you pursue the lawyers, the doctors, the CEOs, things like that, oftentimes there's a level of prestige that's attached to it. And if you want to do it or become a lawyer to gain that prestige or to prove people wrong, that is not going to sustain you. There are, I feel not way easier jobs, but being a lawyer is way too much hard work for prestige to be the reason that you want to do it. And I don't think a lot of people are going to admit that prestige is the reason that they might want to go to a law school. I'm not talking about a particular law school, I'm talking about a law school. And I think a lot of people won't admit that outwardly, but this is where the self-awareness comes in, and you kind of have to ask yourself am I doing this? Am I doing this because I'm a prestige junkie? And listen, maybe we'll talk about it another time, but I have some prestige junkie tendencies. I really, really do. So I am not saying this as you shouldn't go to law school for this. I'm saying this as someone who maybe has even had similar experiences, and it's kind of just that's not going to be enough. Then another wrong reason to want to go to law school is the belief that you will make money. It's funny because the summer before I started law school, I kind of took up a side, a 6-week job as a teacher or an instructor for the SSAT. It was I basically was teaching ELA, and I could do it because I was a teacher before law school, if you don't know. And I was a humanities teacher. And my first year of teaching, I taught only history, but my second year, I also taught 7th grade history and 7th grade ELA. So I definitely could teach over the summer. I had the qualifications to do that, and so I did. And I met some other people who were working there, and I told them like, oh yeah, I'm starting law school soon. And one of the guys was like, oh, you're trying to make money. And like, for me, I don't know why, but it never occurred to me. Like that was, I'm going to be honest with you, making money was never my motivation or reason for wanting to go to law school. Because, and this was my immediate thought, like in the moment when he brought that up. Because there are way less expensive ways to make money than going to law school and becoming a lawyer, right? Like law school is expensive. So unless you already come from a family that has a lot of money, or of course, unless you manage to get a full ride scholarship, like that is a very expensive way to go about trying to make money. Like there are people who graduate college and go off and do consulting or work at tech companies and make six figures without having to drop $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 on school, right? Like I don't even know I was baffled. I was literally just like, money? On top of that, never mind the fact that a lot of the jobs that people think make the most money or that do actually pay a lot of money, you work. And I actually think there are like very few like entry level, and by entry level I mean like in your 20s, like starting from the bottom. I think there are very few jobs that you can have in your 20s that will pay you a good amount of money without also probably like working you to the bone, and probably working you and making you work to a level that like comes out to like maybe close to minimum wage, like in terms of like how many hours you work versus what you make. So that being said, if you are going to law school because you want to make money, and never mind the fact that like the jobs that pay the most are incredibly selective, so you may not even get that. Depending on the ranking of the school that you go to, like it may be really, really selective. And you may be working a job that, like most law jobs, especially when you're straight out of law school, do not actually pay that much. When I'm gonna be honest with you, like I was gonna go into public interest, or like I thought I was, and when I saw that what public interest lawyers make is less than what I was making as a teacher, I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, y'all got it, kudos to you, I respect it, I really, really do respect the integrity, but that is insane. And that's not to say that it's right, but that is to say like, the reality is a lot of lawyers are not actually making as much money as you think they are, and some lawyers are actually struggling to make money. Lawyers that are doing the right thing, a lot of them are struggling to make money. So yeah, if you're all of that is to say is if you're going for money, yeah, you cut that off the pro and con list. That is not that like just let it go. That can't be a reason. That cannot be a reason. Another wrong-ish reason is going to law school because you feel like there are no other options. And you may feel that way for a variety of reasons. It may be because maybe your parents have made you feel like there are no other options. It may be because you feel like you've made it to this point in your life and you haven't found anything else that feels right, and so like why not prolong it by just like going to law school, because law school kind of seems like the thing that people do when they don't know what to do, and it's like law school is really this like amorphous, like what does it even mean? like we know what it means to be a lawyer from TV, we don't know what it means to be a lawyer in practice, and we don't know what it means to have a JD. We just hear like, oh, so-and-so went to law school and now they're a senator, or like so-and-so has a JD but they're a CEO, or so we think it's like this like interdisciplinary, like almost like liberal arts college, right? Like we think that's what it is. But again, like related to my last point, like it is so expensive, and it is too expensive to do just because you feel like you have no other options. And because it is so expensive, there is a high risk and a high buy-in that you do it and you are not interested in the work, you are not excited by the work. And that's not to say that you won't gain something from it, but that is to say like, like, is it worth it? Would it be worth it? And so I highly recommend, like, especially if you are someone who thinks that you need to go to law school straight out of undergrad, like, please know that you do not. Like, please, if you like, this is for the person right now who's trying to go to law school because they think they have no other option. I am encouraging you and potentially imploring you to find something to do between law school and college, to take a gap year. And that might sound scary, but first of all, I did it. I took 2 gap years and I was a teacher. And that was going to be my, if I like this enough, if I like this more, then I don't need to go to law school. And I liked it, but I was still standing at the front of the classroom, and even some of my students were like, Miss Papula, you talk like you should go to, like, maybe you should go to law school. Like, quite literally from some of my students. And I felt the same way as well. So that is to say that, like, I'm at least grateful for having the opportunity to explore and to discover and to learn things about myself before forcing myself into a situation that would have me at a what if, right? Like, there's plenty of time to have a career as a lawyer, God willing, you know, but like, I'm never gonna really, I mean, never say never, but like, the perspective that I was at that time was like, I'm never gonna be able to do something like this again. Like, I'm not really gonna go to law school and be a teacher. I'm not really gonna be able to take a gap year and travel the world or do a fellowship or anything like that. So like, if the plan really is law school, and you know yourself well enough to know that you will get to where you say you are going to go, because that's the type of person I am. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. So like, I wasn't afraid that I wasn't going to go back to school. It's like, no, I'm going to do it because I said so. And so if you're somebody who's like that, like, then taking a year, 2 or 3 off, like, will help and will not, can only help. Like, it can only help. Never mind, you know, making money and, you know, doing all that stuff. But yeah, like, that is a big, like, if you feel like you have no other option, I highly encourage you to actually seek out other options and reconsider. I kind of touched on this on my last point, but external factors, being a Nigerian daughter of an immigrant, I'm a Nigerian immigrant myself. I know what it's like. Actually, I don't really know what it's like to experience pressure, because and I say this all the time, I'm really grateful to have a mom that gave me space and really was just like, you don't have to do what I want you to do, you just have to do something. Like, you just need to know what you want to do and I will support you. And I think that's the approach a lot of parents should take. Like, listen, there are so many new jobs and new careers out there. Like, I just want you to be good at it. Like, and chances of you being good at it probably have to do with, you know, whether or not you actually want to be there. So like, just know, like, just have a plan so I could follow you, so I could, you know, like, know what you're doing. And that's really what it was for me. But I've always had a plan personally. And the plan was always law school, but like, also because I didn't really know what it meant to be a lawyer. Again, you see what you see on TV. But if you are somebody who's dealing with external factors, like family members who are pressuring you or who are saying your only options are being a lawyer, doctor, engineer, the best thing I can say to that is, like, you cannot please everyone. You absolutely cannot please everyone. And sometimes the people who you won't be able to please are your parents. And if you live your life trying to please people, you are potentially going to miss your purpose, which is so much greater than who you were born to. So consider that. Now let's get into some of the good reasons for wanting to attend law school. I would say a good reason, and these are not necessarily like reasons, but maybe signs. Yeah. Good signs would be if you have I don't want to say passion, if you have a passion, but if you are inclined towards like problem solving and analytical thinking, that is probably like a good sign. That is probably a good sign. Like, are you a problem solver? Do you like to solve problems? And I'm talking like big and small, like as little as like, can we get tickets to this event? We're running into this issue or troubleshoot. Like, are you a problem solver? And you know, that's big societal problems and small things too. I would also say if you have like a passion for gaining knowledge, because like law school at the very least is a place where you will gain knowledge. And like, one of the things that I was very excited for when I started law school, that was obviously just like I also should add my law school experience. It feels so long ago because it kind of was, but like peak COVID, like I started like COVID started when I started law school basically, and it really didn't let up until I graduated. So I would say all 3 years of my law school experience were impacted by COVID in some way, shape, or form. And that's not necessarily the case for people who are starting law school now. Like COVID is still, honestly, yeah, if you start law school now, I would say like COVID doesn't really impact your experience. Like mask mandates are away, people can have their balls, their functions, you're meeting in classrooms, all of those things. There's not really virtual school anymore, and you're definitely not remote. And so, yeah, my desire or my excitement about gaining knowledge was kind of dwarfed by the COVID-19 pandemic. But that's still like, needless to say, I still like was very excited to like learn in law school, and like a lot of the things that I learned, I'm still like grateful that I learned, and it was like fun in that way, but it wasn't fun going to school in COVID. I think a good reason to go to law school is if you have done or seen up close and personal some sort of legal work and enjoyed it. If you've had the opportunity to work in some sort of legal capacity and you enjoyed that, that's probably a good sign. In fact, that is a really great sign. For me, I enjoyed the summer after my sophomore year of college. I interned at the New York Attorney General's office in the Civil Rights Bureau, and I actually enjoyed that. I was the only person there who was not in law school, and so even though my responsibilities looked a little bit different compared to the law students who had like, you know, experienced things and dealt with things and learned things, I still had a really enjoyable experience, and that is like probably one of the most formative like experiences that I've had in terms of wanting to go to law school. On the flip side, and relating back to being able to explore, the following summer I like interned at the NAACP national headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, and that wasn't really a legal position. That was more so like, it was under the guise of it being like through public policy, but I really was more so kind of just like a marketing or communications intern in a way. I didn't really have that much work, but it led me to believe that like just being in civil rights wasn't what I really enjoyed. It was like the legal, that was how I kind of narrowed in on the fact that like it wasn't just being at a civil rights organization that made me enjoy being at the New York Attorney General's office. It was like the legal side of it. So that was like my tell sign, like okay, you're on the right track. And so I would say if you're able to have that type of experience and you do enjoy it, like pay attention to that, or at least take that as like a decent and pretty good sign. That's pretty much like, those are pretty much the biggest right reasons or right signs that I would say. So I think I'm gonna wrap the video up here more or less, but I really just wanna emphasize that like finding out if law school is right for you takes a lot of self-awareness. And like however you go about seeking self-awareness is something that I would heavily encourage you tapping into, whether it is journaling, whether it is praying, reading your Bible, talking to people, consulting people, but also looking inward and just like reflecting. Whatever your reflection processes are, like I highly encourage you to do that, because I think it's very easy to just like go through the motions and like do like school, but like going to law school is actually a very big decision that I think would benefit, I think more people would benefit from actually being more self-aware about whether or not it was right for them. So that's what I'll say for now. But thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to comment, let me know your thoughts or what you want to chat about in the future, and also subscribe so that you know when my next video drops, because I'm so looking forward to chatting again. Thanks for watching. Bye.